to Moses, one of them was, "Honour thy father and thy mother, so that it shall be well with you." Out of all the commandments given to us, that was the only one that had a clause, a condition. Honour your father and your mother, so it will be well with you. If you go to 2 Kings 18, from verse 1, please. 2 Kings 18, from verse 1.
Now it came to pass in the third year of Uzziah the son of Elah, king of Israel, that Ezekiel the son of Ahaz, king of Judah, began to reign. He has 25 years old when he became king.
He was 25. We are talking about Hezekiah, King Hezekiah. He was 25, so he was pretty young when he came into power. Please continue.
And he became 29 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Abi, and the daughter of Zechariah. And he did what was right in the sight of the Lord.
And he did what was right in the sight of the Lord. This is the most important thing. You can't care about what man thinks about you, because at the end of the day, it's God's judgment that counts. Do what is right in the sight of the Lord. That doesn't mean if your parents say something, you shouldn't follow what they say. Because doing what's right in the sight of the Lord is obeying His commandments. One of His commandments is honor your father and your mother. So therefore you still have to do what your parents say. Please continue.
According to all that his father David had done, he removed high places and broke the sacred pillars.
He removed high places and broke the sacred pillars.
Cut down the wooden image.
Cut down the wooden image.
And broke in pieces the bronze serpent that Moses had made.
And broke in pieces the bronze serpent that Moses had made.
For until those days, the children of Israel burned incense to it and called it.
Now hush now. Moses made, the bronze serpent, but they turned it into something else. Same way things happen in the church that began in the name of God, but along the line somewhere, they've changed it and used it for something that God hates. Now when King Hezekiah came to reign, he destroyed all these things. I'm going to ask, what are you doing in the name of God? What are you doing to make sure that God's work is kept pure, that God's work is kept clean? This is a question for everyone, because even though you're children, you will get there. There's things that you will see that you might not think is right, but there's a way to go about it. Please continue.
Trusted in the Lord God of Israel, so that
He trusted in the Lord God. How many of you actually trust God? It's easy to say. It's easy to say that you trust God, but how many of you actually trust God? When things happen to you, when things go wrong in your life, what's the first thing you say? Is it, God, I trust you? Or God, why me? Don't you think God knows why you? And because He knows, it doesn't mean He's going to tell you. Everything that happens to us is for the manifestation of God's glory. So do you trust in the Lord? Please continue. For he held fast to the Lord. He did not depart from following Him, but he kept His commandments. So you see, first thing he did was held fast to the Lord. How many of us can actually fast? How many of us can actually pray? Children, how many of us can fast? How many of us can pray? How long can you fast for? 1 day? 3 days? That's good, that's good. How many of you can keep His commandments? How many of you can keep God's commandments? I'm glad you're sure of yourself. It's good. It also says the Lord was with him. He did all these things, pleasing God daily, doing things that God found amazing, doing things that God was happy with. And because he did all of these things, the Lord was with him. He prospered wherever he went. If you do what God wants, if you do according to his word, and follow his will for your life, you will see God's hand in your life. I'm going to go further to verse 12. It says, because they did not obey the voice of their God, but transgressed his covenant, and all that Moses the servant the Lord had commanded them, and they would never hear nor do them. These other people, they disobeyed the word of God, and God punished them. If you want these blessings, if you want things to go right for you, my advice to you is to follow the word of God. Keep his commandments. Because we don't want a situation where you think you're serving God, but you're actually not. Now, how do you keep up with your obedience? How do you keep up with obedience? Children, how do you keep up with obedience? How do we keep up with obedience? How do we stay obedient? Mothers, how do we keep up with obedience? How do we stay obedient? I would say through prayer. If you're not prayerful, if you're not in touch with God, how can you hear his voice? How can you even pay attention enough to listen to what he's saying to you? Obedience isn't an easy thing. Sometimes God will tell you to do some things that you find extremely outrageous. But it goes back to trusting in him and trusting his will for your life. There's been some things that God has told me to do, and I thought it was impossible. I thought I couldn't do this. This is not me. If anyone asked me before, a couple of years back, to stand up in front of people and preach, I'd run away. I wouldn't come to church that Sunday. I remember when I was small, about Deborah's age, they would give us memory verses in church. My pastor's wife would say, no, because I would cry on stage. I couldn't do it. The first day they called me to preach, I told my pastor, you're joking, it's not me. But I listened to the voice of God, and I stood before his people and told them the gospel. Ever since that day, my life it's never been the same, because it caused me to go into the Word, find out who God is, listen to what God was saying, pray to him more, fast more. So what am I saying? Through prayer, you'll stay obedient. If we go to Matthew 26, from verse 36. Matthew 26 from verse 36. I hope I haven't lost you. I hope I haven't lost you. Who are we? Who are we?
Then Jesus came with them to a place called Gethsemane and said to the disciples, sit here while I go and pray over there.
Sit here while I go and pray over there. Sometimes we can get distracted whilst we're praying. The best thing to do is remove yourself from where people are. Continue.
And he took with him Peter and 2 sons of
Zebedee.
And he began to sorrowful and deeply distressed.
This is Jesus we're talking about. Distress, being stressed, being worried. It's normal. This is Jesus Christ that we see, that they said he began to be deeply sorrowful and deeply distressed. Please continue.
Then he said to them, "My soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even to death. Stay here and watch with me." He went a little further and fell on his face and prayed, saying, "O Lord, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will."
Sometimes, this is what I was saying about obedience. Obedience can be very, very difficult. Especially it's difficult for everyone. Whether you're a pastor, senior apostle, it was difficult for Jesus Christ. For a second he thought about it and said, "Let this cup pass from me. Let this cup pass from me. Like, I don't want to do this. Do I have to really do this?" Sometimes you will question God. Do I have to do this thing? But then he came back. He said, "Not as I will, but as you will." You have to understand that the will that God has for you is greater than what you think you can do. Please continue.
Then he came to the disciples and found them sleeping and said to Peter,
"Watch and pray, lest you enter into temptation." This is what I was saying about how do you stay obedient. Jesus told them here, watch and pray, lest you enter into temptation. Watch and pray unless you will enter into temptation. Temptation can take every good thing God has given to you. Temptation can take it away in 1 second if you do not overcome that temptation. And how do you overcome temptation? How do you stay obedient? By watching and praying, listening out for the voice of God. Continue.